Hello you big beautiful world, and welcome to my inaugural talkie flight. I did another one, it was on silent, up on another YouTube page, but this is my first talkie, hopefully not the last. Hopefully you'll be in for a few adventures as I tell you and share with you, tell you some very spurious factoids and share with you some very, very dubious anecdotes about my experiences in life and other areas. And I'm taking off out of here, out of Camden, which is southwest of Sydney, a little field, and it holds much sentimental value, which I'll be sharing with you as we get up into the air. And I'm also flying out in my little Ryan. I don't have a lot of aftermarket stuff. Most of it is aircraft. I've done all that over the past couple of years. And I just tend to find it that I love the aircraft. Alright, let's get this puppy up into the air, and hopefully I won't ramble on too much. I'll give ourselves a bit of power. Do we need the alt? Yeah, we'll get it underway. Yep, cool. Get ourselves some mags. We're on reserve. It's looking good. Alright, bit of mixture. Bit of throttle. Let's give it a whirl, see what happens. You love me. You love me. Alright, let's do it. Good thing as usual, we've got all the buses there. All the traffic just waiting to get in the road. Let's see what happens with that. Okay. Let us do it. Park off. Now the reason I'm using this inaugural flight out of Camden is because, well, there are a number of reasons. As a boy, my sister would bring me down here with friends in her little Volkswagen, and it had an air museum that had all manner of great things like a Catalina, all in various states of disrepair, a Beaufort, Catalina, Meteor, if I remember rightly, part of a Mozzie, a Mosquito, de Havilland, Avro Lincoln, aircraft that had obviously seen service in Australian forces throughout the Second World War and afterwards. Even part of an Avro Anson, I believe. This bus, hello tourists. You guys didn't see that? Correct. Okay, so we're going to take off out of runway 24. And hopefully the place I'm taking you to, if I don't get us lost, which is highly likely, is going to be modelled quite well in this puppy. Now from memory, this little Ryan, it's a bit squirrely on takeoff. Either that or I'm far worse at this gig than even I imagine myself to be. And it can be a bit bouncy on landing, but I like the speed and I like the viz on it, and it's a lovely little beastie. And I'll be talking at length and rambling on at length. Now to you, the listeners. Ooh, which way do I want to go? You know what? Yeah, that way. Good suit inside. Okay. Cool, perfect. See what I mean? Straight off the bat. Dodgy. We'll just keep taxiing our way up to the north. We'll be heading off 24. Flying down to the southwest over the Oaks. And then we'll be heading west to what is effectively the southern tip of the Blue Mountains, southeastern tip of the Blue Mountains. I won't be taking you as far as the famous landmarks of Hazelbrook Grocery Store, which has been excellent up in the Blue Mountains. Big shout out to all the folks at Hazelbrook. Or Katoomba, the Paragon Cafe, great little cafe up there. Katoomba, of course, as the locals love to call it, K-Town. Well, they don't. We did when I lived up there, but if you get that fixed in your head, send my love to K-Town when you get up there. They won't have any idea what you're talking about. The Blue Mountains is really an amazing place, very close to Sydney, the western edge of Sydney. It's extraordinary to live in. They're extraordinary to live in, and there are just so many lovely places. And I won't be showing you any of them today, so maybe that's for another day, if you like this one. Right, let's get this boost up into the air. Let's ignore ATC. Let's break most of the CASA rules and most of the laws of decency from the past 100 years of aviation. Oh, it looks like a cowpool. No, it's just grass. Okay, gold. Let's get up into the air. With a rolling start. That says a bit of throttle. What we're doing ourselves in the runway. Back to the queue. A bit of a dance on the rudder. Are we off? We're off. Alright. Nice little over the river. You guys see it's a bit of trim. Like I said, I love this aircraft. It's it's not the fastest race car on the dragway, but it is just gorgeous for views and for immersion. Is absolutely incredible. So to continue this way, where we're going? Pretty much west. Around 11 o'clock maybe, it's got to be the Oaks. We'll be avoiding that. We're heading out to a place, ladies and gentlemen, called Lake Burragarang, which is one of the major water catchment areas for the Sydney drinking. And I believe it's in all manner of heartache at the moment, or it has been the past month or so because of the heavy rains we've had. And in fact, that's why I'm not flying with live weather, because I believe they're about Sydney and the east coast of Australia are about to get smashed by severe storms again. So all my love and thoughts go, oh, that's what you get for keeping it on reserve. Let's see if other way. Give it to us. Good on me. Oh, I forgot my good one. So yeah, we just found out the live weather today. I just want to show you how beautiful this part of southwest Sydney is. Still a very kind of rural feel, even though it's only an hour south. And Sydney is a big city. I think I'm not sure where it stands currently, but it used to be the largest city in the Antipodes, the southern hemisphere. I could be making all that nonsense up, I normally am. Alright, so we're heading out to Lake Burragarang, and I'm just going to head. Alright, I'm not going to go too high, keep it safe. In fact, stuff like running around now, going to go a bit. And there's a million apologies I should make up front, gang. Moving my head about with trap IR like a squirrel coming off the riverine. Probably going to get dodgy quality on the mic, all of that stuff. But look, if you're watching this, you don't need my apologies, I'm not going to give them. Hopefully you're enjoying it because you like the escapism as much as I do. If you do like it, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll end up doing more of this crazy stuff with more spurious facts and entirely unreliable anecdotes and memories. Speaking of which, the reason I picked Camden is because over 30 years ago that's where I started doing my private pilot's license. I never completed it. One reason or another, I got scared of flying, I ran out of money, fundamentally lazy, all of the above, or none of the above, I don't know, long since forget which. Let's take a little bit more. So yeah, and I was learning in an old 152, I think, Cessna 152. I do remember the seats being really racky in it. Not much else about it, unfortunately. Just going to head over this way. So like I was saying, all those off yonder, that's all the Blue Mountains up there. In fact, I think around 1 o'clock that will be the Katoomba Plateau, which oddly enough is quite a ways off Katoomba, the town itself, very massive deep up in the mountains. So yeah, it was a little Cessna, fairly rowdy little job, and my teacher, for all you musicians or guitarists especially out there, you might appreciate this. I've been a musician dad for years, and my teacher's name was Les Paul, so that gave me a bit of a chuckle. But what made me actually laugh out loud was the fact that he wasn't a guitarist, he was a trumpeter. But he was a great instructor, he was a nice guy, really sweet guy. Hope he's still about. So yeah, he took me out over the Oaks and we'd fly hopefully towards the lake where we were heading, which is Lake Burragarang, as I mentioned before. One of the largest water areas. Oh, what was that? The artifact? And it was a lot of fun flying about in that old Cessna. I went for quite a few lessons and had a blast doing it. But it was a long way from where I lived at the time, and by the time I got out there on a weekday and the lessons were actually affordable, it was just too time consuming, so I ended up dropping off, which is a great shame. So having said that though, I've been a lover of flight sims ever since I remember a mate. I was mystified, absolutely gobsmacked when a mate mystified me with an old Apple IIc, showing the old, I don't think there was even one against it then, it was just called Flight Simulator, early 80s, maybe late 70s. Old wire graphics flying off Meigs Field at Chicago, and I absolutely loved it. Mainly because, you had a keyboard and trying to get this thing off the ground. It was, I guess, a holy grail unto itself. And then with the advent of, what we'll call an FS2 or even an FS3 for that matter, but certainly with the coming of FS4 and the days of the 386 going to cut over to the 486s, because I think it was FS4 that actually introduced Flight Sim Builder, which allowed you to build cities or buildings or whatever, as well as aircraft. And I fell in love with aircraft design. Well, I've been in love with it as a kid, but the fact that you could now start building these weird and wacky. It also had an old Starship, was that built by Lee? That kind of weird hybrid Delta. But I also, because I always loved obscure, not just gold, primarily Golden Wing aircraft and around World War II, the paper aircraft that never got off the drawing board. Designers all around the world like Jack Northrock in the States, and HG, so Herbert George from memory, Herbert George and George Frederick, the Miles brothers, and I believe it was George's wife, Maxine Blossom. So the three of them designed so many amazing aircraft over in England during that period, just around the beginning of the war and then afterwards. So I remember trying my hand at designing the M35, which was an early canard design, a really unusual looking aircraft that I fell in love with. Okay, so theoretically we're at the northern end of Lake Burragarang now, this is the northern arm of it. And I want to see after the Australian update if they've got this puppy right. See what those weird artifacts coming off the shoreline. But I don't care, and if you do, then more pity you pedantic creature you. I'm just going to keep following this northern arm along because I want to see if something magical happens. And I want to keep these videos short, obviously, because you keep them over half an hour and people zone out and they no longer feel the love. Having said that, I've been following ever since the advent or the rebirth of Flight Simulator in this form, MSFS2020. There's been a number of content creators here on YouTube. I have Angel over in, I think she's in the Midlands, Rachel over in England. Took home Murphy out of Ireland. Here in Australia we've got the Flying Dad and the Flying Frog. Overkill over in the States. Really great content creators, and I take my hat up to all of them for introducing me to a number of aircraft and any number of add-ons, payware and freebies. Okay, so nothing's happening. It looks as though we're about to drop off the edge of the world. There we go. They have done it. Okay, so on top of all the other, advertised things in with each successive world update, for those of us who live in these areas, we appreciate little moments like this. So this is Lake Burragorang. Like I said, this is a major catchment area for Sydney's drinking water supply. And this is Warragamba Dam, which regulates it, and they've faithfully recreated it. And this isn't advertised anywhere, but a bit of ice creamy scenery, what I like to call the ice cream stuff. But this is the Warragamba River straight ahead of us, and if I'm not careful from memory, we run into some power lines, so I've got it up in the air. There we go, there's those bloody power lines. That's one of the few freebie add-ons I love to keep in here, is those power lines, because another altogether spurious anecdote I'll reveal is when I was going through flight lessons, we're just going to bring in North folks and then bring it back down, and I won't take it down so far, but Les, who had been an instructor at Camden Airfield for many, many years, explained to me upon graduation there's a set of power lines that cross over Lake Burragorang at the southern end, one of the southern arms. I don't know if it's modelled here, and I don't really care. So this is the Warragamba River, and that goes into the McLean River, and that's where they held the Olympics about 20 years ago. But yeah, back over the dam. So yeah, and a lot of pilots upon graduation were flying with these power lines, and of course many of them didn't make it and they lost their life. Lake Burragorang there, they lost quite a few. There's a couple, depending on who you talk to. So there you go, not quite River Dam, but it's ours anyway. And if you ever do get down this way, Sydney, do take the time to look around, because, well, not a dam obviously, but not that exciting. That's like being kind of marvellous engineering. But this is an hour's drive from Sydney, and it is a genuinely magical place. At some point we might go up into the mountains in the northwest there, proper. But for now we're just going to do a quick run back to Camden, and we'll call it a day. But it's often like like major cities around the world. It's a place that can polarise a lot of people. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. I was born and raised there. I grew up for a time in Perth. I live down in Melbourne now, outside Melbourne. But I always love Sydney. Much profound beauty. It's a very green city for starters. From the centre of the city, Hyde Park, the main, right down to areas as far southwest as Camden, or looking over there we've got a place called Southern National Park. I believe this is all Nafi National Park, I'm not sure. I believe it is so. Yeah, and north as far as Gosford and Woy Woy, which when I was a kid they used to be like holiday places to go as a holiday destination. In this day and age with the freeways, they're little more than kind of suburbs, or they're treated like suburbs in Sydney. If you're into scuba diving, do go scuba diving in Sydney, and I mean within the harbour itself, because there are so many amazing spots to dive, whether it's Witches Hats, off the North Head, and we'll do a flight up there at some point, or the steps down to the south. I might have those two mixed up from memory. A long time since I've dived in Sydney. It's been a long time since I've dived. But there's all kinds of stuff down there. The famous aggressive sharks of Australia, such as the nervous whalers or the bull sharks, the kind of estuarine sharks, right through to very playful octopuses and walls of cuttlefish that look like UFOs. We're flying through a wall of UFOs. Sydney has like any major city, a lot of drawbacks. It can be cold, it can be distant, it can be angry, it can be fast. But it can even be standoffish and snobbish. But it's also profoundly beautiful. And like any place, I'm sure we'd all tell the same tale. It's where we grew up. It's what we know. So we're going to make our way back to Camden now. I hope that was fun seeing Warragamba Dam. I think in reality it's not really, because it's just a dam. But it's cool that they've modelled it here. I don't think it was in the original flight sim. I don't think it came until the update for Australia. I know we're into the update for Spain and Portugal now. And I may or may not have some, again, altogether unreliable memories of my days bumming around over there as a young man. Hopeless and penniless, and a little more than a song in my heart, and a little more else, other or else. But for now, like I said, we'll get it back to Camden and we'll sign out. If I keep rambling on and I decide to keep it in, then I'll make you all suffer accordingly. And if not, then I might just cut it here and see it back as we go through our approach. And I do thank you, Big Beautiful World, for joining me in this inaugural adventure. And like I said, please like and subscribe if you want more. If not, tell me to shut up and I'll just go away and go on doing my own thing. Now that I was truly lost, let me have a look.
Yeah, if I make left traffic, that's good. I most likely go the right traffic from this point. Once we hit the river, I'll make it clear. That's the beauty of it. We're not altogether doing a whole lot that's in accordance with the laws of aviation as I understand. And I really do appreciate it. It is just a joy, often breathtaking joy, in spite of the ice creamy moments and some of the good faces in the line. But let's find out the love of in the river shortly. Up around 11. Alright, we'll bring it round, follow it along, take it straight into the airfield, ready mark. In fact, I think that might even be our airfield right there. Right, so we're just going to take the western edge of it, and then, yeah, we'll take the right hand. I won't go to full ATC route. So if you look up that way, that's Sydney proper, over towards the, well, from this angle, northwest, no, sorry, northeast. And you've got Bankstown, which is another major airport. And you've got, KSA, Kingsford Smith. Further on from that,
And we'll do that, we'll do all the tourist stuff sooner or later, but for now I just wanted this inaugural flight to be around this sleepy little field of Camden. And over there you've got the Oaks, which is another sleepy little field. But I don't know if I mentioned before, I used to have, yeah, I did at the beginning. Dodgy memory, folks, dodgy memory. Screwing this up. But I can't be asked. We'll just get out of the cut and play, so we're not getting anyone harm. We'll keep our eye on. That's 06, heading up towards the north, and if we're coming back the other way, and it's going to be since the wind has come up, a little bit of wind has come up from the southwest, makes sense to come in on 24. This will be Camden, Maine, a very, still a beautiful little kind of rustic town, even though again technically I guess you put it as part of Sydney now, but it's still got its own thing going on. It's where we've got a famous plant here, the Patterson's Curse, beautiful blue flower. It's all over the east coast of Australia, and it's havoc with farmers. And it all started because a woman here, I forget who she was, the governor's wife I believe, got some imported from England, and they just took over the east coast or the southeast of Australia in short order. So Camden, thank you very much. We're coming down. So straight ahead, that would be Wollongong.
543 with 257 and 7. Clear to land, runway 24.
Are we still?
Clear to land, runway 24543.
Yes, so straight ahead, that would be the Gong, Wollongong and Kiama. Kembla, Port Kembla, famous steel port. Got a couple of them, Newcastle, well I won't say famous. Most of you folks, if you are watching, you've probably never even heard of Australia for the most part, I should think. That being said, yeah, another beautiful little area. Most of the steel industry is gone now. But it's I think if we get over that way at some point, we've still got all the old rusty docks and all the rest of it. It's quite scary. Those things that are simultaneously sad and scary, like a lot of industrial ruins can be. Alright, let's get this puppy down. Not going to announce final base. We will crab it in because this is a tail dragger, and tail draggers can be notorious for visibility. Don't come too low, don't come too fast as this thing bounces so tall. Of course, many of the trees are well and truly out of dimension. We don't want to hit the trees. Hopefully we'll bring it in on the piano keys and we'll have fun. And if we're going to center line it, but we can go try. Keep her out, keeping her out. All the way up, try and bring her around 3 points. That's one. Gosh.
43 exit, runway with Naval.
Oh, not altogether hard out, but not bad, not bad. Let's make sure for the next one. And try and tip it on its nose. We have to backtrack. I think there's still another one we can pull it off.
Site 4 tree, turn next taxiway.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Dodgy.
Site 4 tree contact ground on 121.9er.
There we go. Some spurious taxiway behaviour from my part.
Site 4 tree, did you copy?
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
121.9er for 54 tree.
I don't know if they still bring the gliders in and out. There's a shorter strip along there. So I love this site. I've been addicted to it since its release, and nobody was more surprised than me when it came out, because I thought, oh well, after FSX that was the last we'd ever hear of it. And suddenly this puppy arrives, this puppy emerges. And I know we all bag Microsoft and the other one, that's all good. I know we all pay out on the Sobo and Microsoft, and you could be doing this and you could be doing that. But honestly, this is just amazing. It's often breathtaking. As much for the oddities and the artifacts as for the often breathtaking beauty of the simulator itself. And look, big beautiful world, I just want to thank you all for joining me in this inaugural talkie flight. In this crusty old, oh look, get out of my road you crazy kids. We'll just pull it off there so they don't cause any more tourists. More heart attacks, would kill it off. There we go. So, yeah, all good. Alright, let's turn this puppy off. In no particular order. Cool. Didn't have the pump on anyway. And we can get out of the road. There you go. Fuel off. Battery off. Alternator off. No pump. Handbrake on. Throttle off. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Again, thanks for joining me on the flight. Big beautiful world. Stay safe. Bye for now.